So we're gonna go back to Beacon maybe in volume 10, 11. Depends how in-depth they're gonna be with each episode. If it's gonna be like this, it might take at least up to 3-4 volumes, I think, because one volume now is like more than 12 episodes, and one episode is like roughly 18 to 20 minutes depending on the episode length. But here they're focusing on what's gonna happen with Mantle and Atlas. After that, I don't think it'll take I don't know how much they're gonna take from this volume alone, or if they're even gonna go to other places in Remnant, because there are other places like let me see. My RWBY knowledge has gotten rusty. So there is essentially there's 4 kingdoms: Vale, Mistral, Vacuo, and Atlas. Mistral was where Lionheart, that academy was. Am I correct? Please tell me I'm correct. Yeah, it was a primary setting of volume 5 and 6. So they've been there, they've done that. So Mistral was there, and Mistral kinda... It's not overtaken because they have... Yeah, they have Faunus. They're more open to Faunus, I guess. Yeah, because it's Haven Academy. And this was where what? Oh, where they were from. Yeah, in Lionheart's fucking dead, yeah. Yeah, this is where Sun and Neptune were from, and this is where Pyrrha's thing is there as well. This is where they had like the whole reuniting with Team RWBY and stuff like that. So this was where Mistral was. Vale was where Beacon Academy was. So Vale we're gonna come back to later on, because Vale was the first target and the first place to fall down with Beacon and stuff like that. The only place we haven't been to right now is Vacuo. And Vacuo had some of the... Because the remaining, the remaining huntsmen from Vale moved on to Vacuo. And Vacuo... I haven't read the book, so I'm not 100% sure. I have to read the books, don't I? I should read the books, actually. This was what, Shade Academy? Yeah. Yeah, this is where, Team Coffee should be here? They should be, right? Team Coffee and, Team Sun, which is basically, I actually don't know how to pronounce their name, but yeah, they should be here. They should be. There's a lot of, there's a lot of people from Vale who are in Vacuo. So they're all in Vacuo right now, from what I know, without reading the books and stuff. I have yet to read the Fall of Beacon and the sequel part for that book. I've ordered it, I just haven't read it. I haven't had enough time. I'll read it later on. But yeah, so we were in Vale, and then they had to move on, and then they were in Mistral, and then from Mistral they moved on to Atlas, because that was the next reasonable place to go to, because they had, out of all the 4 kingdoms, Atlas is known for their security and etc. and just their weapons in general. They had a lot of good weapons. They have a lot of good weapons for their security and stuff. And they're known for their military system and stuff because of Ironwood and etc. etc. But now that they're in turmoil at this point, he literally just killed a man right in... This was episode 1. We have 1 death already in this episode. So that he killed that person, and then now Atlas showing their what Salem is doing is essentially trying to destroy them from their strongest link, which is essentially Atlas, because of all their military equipment, their military armies, and etc. etc. Their military is top notch when you compare it to all other kingdoms. The only thing I have hopes for in terms of Vacuo is because of the hunters and huntresses. The main force that is able to not get... the force that is not to be reckoned with, I guess, to be looked down upon, mainly because yes, Atlas did have better military and stuff like that, but Excuse me, I burped again. It's mainly because they had more robotic like the technology was up there in the top. But we saw how their robots are. They would lose terribly against Grin. But Vacuo has all the other remaining, like, not the remaining, but like the hunters and huntresses from Vale and I guess Mistral, because the headmaster is dead there. So their Vacuo is still there. Because Vale was indeed, like, Beacon was in the middle of all other kingdoms, and then there were other people going to Beacon and stuff like that because Ozpin and yada yada. Beacon was good and stuff like that. So we still have hope in terms of the number of hunters. I'm just wondering if they're heeding assistance from Atlas, or if Atlas has even asked for help from like Vacuo and other places, or if they're just minding their own business because they don't wanna. Because essentially, Vale did ask for help from Ironwood, but he was a bit hesitant because he wants to protect Atlas by themselves instead of trying to help Vale, because it would take a lot of time to like equip themselves and get their warships all the way to Vale and etc etc. So they didn't have enough time essentially to do that. So now the question becomes, I don't think so. Not even the question. The answer is that Atlas hasn't. I don't think they've requested for help from other places like Vacuo. Mistral, I think we've already established Mistral as having their own conundrum with their whole like Headmaster Lionheart being like in cahoots with Salem and then getting killed, so their academy was going downhill. But then Blake's dad came in and he was like trying to reestablish, because they had a few issues with like the White Fang and like Faunus in general, so we're trying to move away from that. They have their own discrimination like affairs to deal with, so that's where Mistral is having issues with. And then we come to Atlas, who's having an issue because they're trying to care about themselves, and then Mantle is there with like the slums and people, but they're not caring about Mantle, which is becoming a huge issue. So the real question becomes, so we've officially split up into two, Team Atlas and Team Mantle. I say Team Atlas and Team Mantle, but it's divided into what they're focusing on. Team Mantle is focusing on Mantle, and then Team Atlas is focusing on trying to go against Atlas, basically. So the fact that they split it up in that kind of order, though, but it's a good thing that Oscar and John are in the neutral party, so it's a good thing. I think it's a good thing that they kind of split it up. Like, wait, I'm trying to think of who was with who. No, wait. I think I'm trying to remember who was it with. Never mind. So they didn't split up Oscar and John. I think it's a good thing that they put Oscar and, because John is essentially there to kind of keep track of Ren, because Ren he's unpredictable, especially since last volume. It's a bit, he's getting really emotional, and John has to be there. Nora could be there, but it's not. It's a tough battle, so we're gonna leave that there. Oscar, I think Oscar's just there to kind of ease out with Yang's whole mistrust, because I remember that there were some, because Barbara Dunkelman, who is the voice of Yang, has hinted out that there is a concept of distrust in this volume. Yang has gone through shit and back in terms of like getting freaking, it's not even, she didn't even get backstabbed, it's just that people don't trust her and they just leave. Example A, case A is her mother, case B was her fucking partner Blake, and then case C was just in general everybody getting backstabbed because of Ozpin lying about shit and stuff like that. So she's had 3 strikes, and I think, like, just like me, who has like three strikes and you're kind of out, she has that same mental like thing, like 3 strikes and she's done with like trying to trust people at this point. So it's the same with Ruby's aspect. I think like she she trusted Ruby to lead her team, not even her team, but the whole group as as a, like just leading them. But then she saw that Ruby is unfortunately not on the right track. Not even on the right track, but she's lacking in terms of leadership, and she is having um second thoughts basically on Ruby's like um leading. What do you call? I don't even know how to put it in words. She's just having some second thoughts about like Ruby's thoughts on what she wants to do next in terms of like whether to go for Atlas and stuff like that, because she was like, oh, let's trust Ironwood, he'll probably believe in us. Whoop, Ironwood doesn't is getting scared and he wants to leave Atlas, like protect Atlas only, and he just like he lost hope and everything, etc, etc. So then, and so I think this group where it's Yang, Ren, John, and Oscar, it's a good pair off, because then we can see, because Ren and Yang, Ren, he's being very those two, no, not only Ren alone, these two are being tugged in very emotionally because they had so much stress. I'm not saying like everybody else hasn't had enough stress. They've had enough. They've literally had enough. Ren had that grim incident, and he's just a very emotional little boy, and he's just going through a lot. Yang, I gotta give props to Yang. This is why I love Yang. Like I may be a little biased when it comes to Yang, but like Yang has been through so much, and I just want the best of her. She lost her fucking arm. Okay, so there's that. I know John has been through a lot. Well, okay, Ruby as well, but like John lost Pyrrha, so I'm hoping that will kind of go in depth about how he, like, we did see him going over it, but I still think deep inside like he's like pushed it down. I'm just waiting for it to kind of explode once he sees Cinder, because so far I don't remember if he's ever seen Cinder face to face. Only Ruby has like seen. Ruby was the only one who witnessed like Pyrrha dying to Cinder, so I'm pretty sure he has told John, but John hasn't, from what I can remember so far, which is very vague, so I don't trust what I'm remembering, but I don't think he has encountered Cinder yet. It's only Ruby and Ruby alone, but like there's that. So in all honesty, Ruby has the most stress but she's keeping it on the down low because she's indirectly like stressed out by it, but she's not directly hurt in that aspect. Like Jean is directly hurt because of Pyrrha dying. Ren is going through this shit because he was directly hurt because his dad got killed by the Grimm, and there's like this whole slum atmosphere of like the Grimm attacking, so he has this emotional attachment thing. Yang is just fucking getting not even backstabbed, but like the people she thought she trusted and believed in, she's just losing the hope one at a time, each volume, and we're seeing step by step that her very optimistic person, because she was the first. I remember it like it was yesterday, the moment where everybody was just not believing in her when she did not, I repeat, she did not break Mercury's stupid legs. Oh, just remembering it, I get a little teary, because that moment where you see that people you thought trusted you start to not trust you. The people, even Blake was like, I want to trust you, but that butt destroyed my heart. Blake's butt. Not her actual butt, but the word butt destroyed my heart at that moment. So I really want the best for Yang, but like I know that feeling of not being able to like, I want her to slowly build up her trust again, but it's come to a limit. She's gone through so much from volume 3 onwards. Like, her trust has been diminishing little by little, step by step, gradually, like slowly but gradually it has been destroyed, like continuously throughout and out. That's why I want to be optimistic, but I do understand where Yang's coming from and where, like, why she wants to just at this rate just act on her own, because it's better than putting her trust into someone else, because so far her it hasn't been going well, so she might as well test out a new theory and see what's gonna happen. So I'm not I'm not against like the whole split up. It is not well, it's efficient in its own way, but it's not as as long as they don't go against each other. That's all I'm asking for. Once there's actual civil war, there's nothing that nothing good will ever happen. This is why humans will never ever be able to unify properly, because of the concept of civil war. So hopefully, if they're able to go over that big hurdle, it'll be fine. But that I think that's what Volume 8 is focusing on, like the whole distrust in each other, and like the whole concept of like giving hope to each other, like that concept of like not giving false hopes is what I think they're trying to go at when it comes to this. So as a person who really loves Yang, I hope she's able to slowly recover that glimmering hope. Otherwise, her her character is just gonna get darker and darker, and I'm gonna feel very very bad about that, because I did like her optimistic personality as a character. Like, it was all puns and stuff like that. It was all good, like all jolly and fun. I am liking this side of Yang, showing that like the whole happy-go-lucky character is not essentially what you think it is. I'm gonna have to make this a whole separate video of just analyzing the whole series, because this is going into like 40-minute territory, so this is gonna be a separate video. But yeah, I'm hoping that Yang is able to branch out further and beyond, I guess, because this is why I really like seeing the other side of happy-go-lucky like characters, because that's not essentially all there is to them. Like, people think, oh, they wouldn't understand because they're all happy and they're always smiling. That is not a fact. People always say, oh, like to me at least, oh, you're so happy, like you're always happy, you always think about the positive sides and stuff like that. That may be what it seems like to everyone, but like I'm trying to like just think on the positive, like not be negative, because come on, if we think about the negative all the time, then it's just gonna bring the mood down. So it'll just make everybody miserable at that in that sense. But there is a moment in time where even for me, like I like it there's like there's a little pot, like a jar full of like water, and it fills up little by little. Once it overflows, all hell will break loose. Right now, Yang's jar has just broken loose, and the water is overflowing at this rate. So I do understand where she's coming from a personal aspect. So that's why I really love Yang's character and her development throughout the series. Like, she has shown that she is not what she seems to be, like as a not happy lucky, but like happy going like character. Like, she brightens up the mood and etc. She is not essentially that. This has been proven throughout the last two, well, from volume 3 and onwards, basically, where the whole issue of mistrust and distrust started to occur. So I'm really looking forward to how she further develops develops from here on, because I just love character development like this, because then this also teaches me like new things that I could use to better myself as a person, I guess. I don't know at this point. Let's just say I relate to Yang a lot in this sense. It's not like my mother like ran away or something, or like my dad's going through a second marriage or something. It's just that as a character, I just really like her. When I say I'm similar to her, not like the whole character background, it's just that I relate to her in many ways than one. So yeah, so this volume, I'm really looking forward to more aspects of more exploration in terms of Yang's character. So I think that's why they kind of split it up into RWBY's team and Yang's team, so we can go and look into more deeper aspects of Yang, because that's one of the few things that we've been lacking. Because last volume we went through like Weiss, because we're in Atlas, so we went through her family, and she's kind of not solved everything, but they are getting there, because Jacques or whatever, Jacques, or I always call him Lorax, but Lorax is like gone for good now. The only issue I'm worried about is Whitley, because we saw Whitley and Weiss's mother, so I am worried about those two, especially Whitley, because when he first appeared, everybody was giving shit for him. Most people were giving shit, not everybody. Most people were giving shit because he was being a brat and stuff. But he, as we all know, he has his own issues, especially being the youngest male child who really couldn't escape as fast as like Winter or Weiss. So he has that aspect, because he learned from Winter, like, if you disobey, then you have to pursue something totally new and different and go through hardships. He sees Weiss as well, who's also an example, who was following Winter's example but couldn't run away completely, but in the end still ran away. So I can see that he envies those two, but he feels that he has, like, the only way for him to survive is to stay under Lorax's power, so that he can and wait it out, basically. Because as long as he waits it out, Lorax is gonna die sooner or later. He's not immortal, so he will die out. So all he had to do was just act it out and hold it in until he is gone from the picture. Then he can start doing what he wants, and he can do whatever. But yeah, this is what I'm hoping for, at least. I think I'll release this beforehand, like, because this is just a discussion of of my thoughts. Reaction wise, I'll release it accordingly, like a week afterwards, because that's the set thing for RWBY, for Rooster Teeth's like uploading schedule. So yeah, that's my brief thoughts, I guess. It's 20 minutes, but I hope you guys enjoyed this, especially if you like RWBY. So this is my thoughts on like the whole track of what they might do in volume 8. This is only for episode 1. Episode 2 and onwards is just gonna be reaction videos, but this would be a separate video where I just talk about my thoughts on RWBY in general so far, because we are on volume 8. That being said, I really do hope that you enjoyed this, and I'll see you in the next episode.